Mo, upset alert, and then we're gonna get to the who you got. Mo, pick one major upset alert.
Uh, uh, this ain't really an upset no more because he's hurt. But I'm sorry, when you got one win and you beat a team, it's still an upset to me. So I'm gonna go Texans beating Tennessee. I know some people might be like, that's not a shock, but still, when you're a one win team this late in the season against a 7-win team, I still feel like that's an upset. So I'm gonna go Tennessee versus I'm gonna go I'm gonna go Texas to beat Tennessee.
All right, Corey.
Give me the Jacksonville Jaguars.
That's not even no more. Wow.
Yeah, it is the Jets are still favored. I believe it's a 1.5 line, but I think it's a sign that how little confidence Vegas has in the Jets. But the Jets have been struggling. I know the Jags are coming off a big win, looking to build and keep momentum with a young quarterback. It's a short week, and I think that kind of lends to Jacksonville's favor a bit. So we'll see what happens, but decent shot. The Jags are playing for a playoff chance, so
yeah. Craig, upset.
Well, when I looked at it this morning, it was even between Jacksonville and the Jets.
I was looking at ESPN this afternoon, and it still had Jets 1.5.
I looked at. I don't know. Maybe this morning it was. I don't know. Maybe I didn't refresh.
ESPN may just not have updated it.
Yeah, something like that. I don't know if I didn't refresh or maybe they didn't update it. But yeah, I looked at because I was going to pick it. Then it was even, so I changed it. But I mean, I got to go with the same team. I got to go with the Jags. That's who I was going to pick if the Jags. I thought maybe the Jets, but whatever. So I'm going with the Jags. I don't trust Zach Wilson. They don't have a running game. I think Jacksonville is on a roll. I think they know they see the door open for them to take that division. They see that Tennessee doesn't have their quarterback now. They're pretty much relying on Henry to lead the team. I just don't know if that's enough for the rest of the season. And I don't know if who's the quarterback for the I forgot his name. The rookie quarterback. Can't think of his name. I don't know if he's ready to
Malik Wilson.
Willis.
No, Willis.
Ready to lead this team. They've lost 4 games in a row. I think the door is open for the Jaguars, so I got to pick them.
Yeah, this is interesting because I want to pick the Jaguars. Is going to be interesting, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna pick the Texans. I'm gonna go a little bit more frisky, man. I'm going out there. I think the Atlanta Falcons upset the Baltimore Ravens. I think the Atlanta Falcons upset the Baltimore Ravens. And this is the reason. I think they're going to run the ball a lot. And I think their quarterback play, losing to the Browns, was huge. And I just think that the Ravens at this point need Lamar. This is the far-fetched though, because I think the Texans. I think that was my number one, but I was like, let me throw this out there. So I just think so. I think it's going to be any given Sunday, and it's going to be surprising, and then the Ravens are going to be like, Lamar, we need you. He might say, pay me. I don't know. He probably won't. He'll probably play, but I think that's a big upset.
Sidebar. Shout out to the Washington Commanders on getting 4 people into the Pro Bowl. Salute.
I'm not.
I know it's Pro Bowl games, but shout out to them.
Yeah, shout out to them making the playoffs.
Yeah, that'd be better. Yeah, that'd be better.
If they got 8 Pro Bowlers, they the playoffs.
Also, this is it's nothing to do with anything right now, but the Nets had 91 points at halftime against the Warriors.
Hey, shut up. Hey, Corey, shut
up. You said the Nets have 91?
91 to 50.
Against the Warriors? It's going down.
Yeah,
I'm glad I did not pick them. Well, they don't have Steph.
Come on, man. I don't care if you don't have Steph. That's terrible. That's piss poor.
All right. They just lost to
The Knicks, but I mean, but not,
Listen, hold on.
they lost to the Knicks like what was it 154?
Hold on. Hey, hold on. It's 10 minutes left in the third.
30 to 1,
Oh my God.
90 or something like that. It's about like almost 40, but
It's 95 to 52, and it's still 10 minutes left in the third.
Yeah.
they're gonna take the foot off the gas, but
Yeah, it's bad. This Warriors team is crazy. That's another. They are
70%.
I mean, listen, they've won 4 championships. Like it happens to every franchise. The Warriors?
They won 5.
Oh, 5. Okay, I'm sorry. In this era.
Yeah, with Steph. That's 5.
Huh?
Steph has 5.
And Kyrie not even playing.
Steph got 4, Craig.
He got 4.
Steph has 4.
Yeah, he
ain't got 5.
He got 5.
Nah, it's only
Yeah, you're right. He does have 4. What
5 is an exclusive club, bro.
Yeah, I'm about to say, boy, get that 5th, boy.
Right,
Yeah, it's hard. I think it's only Magic, Kobe, Kareem, Jordan. I'm talking about all-time players. I'm not talking about
Bill Russell. Yeah, Bill Russell.
And Bill Russell. Like that 5th is that's a different level. He could.
My bad. Robert Horry. Yeah, Robert Horry. But
I'm talking about like super.
I got you.
You know, players that's on Steph Curry's caliber. Yeah, he could, Greg, but he got. I mean, they had a good run. You know,
Tim Duncan got 5, or he got 4?
Tim Duncan got 5.
No, he got 5.
Yep, Tim Duncan got 5. That's another one though, but that getting that 5th is very difficult for NBA players. It's hard, man. It's hard. That fifth championship's hard. Anyway, but like not to take away from it, Shaq got 4, Curry got 4, LeBron got 4. It's hard. First of all, it's hard to win a championship in any sport. Let's just say that. It's not easy. Especially in football. All right. Last segment of the night, who you got? I'm gonna start off with Corey. You started it off, man, picking the Jags, but we're gonna break it down. Jaguars versus Jets, Thursday night football. Playoff implication. All the games that are, I was shocked. All the games on here are playoff implication games. Like the winner edges up and the loser goes down. So I just love this time of year in football, and it's going to be games on Christmas Eve. I love it, you know. So all right, Christmas Day. Yep, Christmas Day. I love it. I'll be watching basketball too. But anyway, Jags versus Christmas Day is best.
Christmas Day. Don't need to watch the NFL. Have you seen the lineup? The 1 o'clock, yes. Packers Dolphins. The other two, why?
Why?
I watch the NBA. I do it every Christmas. That's when I really start watching NBA anyway. So Corey, Jags versus Jets, who you got? We know who you got, but let's see why.
All right. Coaching, obviously you're going to go with the Super Bowl winning coach over a young head coach in his second year. And there was a lot of questions on Peterson on his way out of Philadelphia. A lot of question marks as to why he was happy he got fired. I think that speaks to kind of the quarterback situation at the time.
Because didn't he want Hurts? I thought he wanted.
Yeah, I think so. But and then the hit Wentz had soured on their relationship had kind of soured. Yeah. There were questions as to Reich's role and the struggles that Philly had after Frank left, all that. So he's kind of proven himself. I think he potentially felt like he had something to prove, and he's done a heck of a job in Jacksonville this year. I know they only have a shot at the playoffs because that division is the worst in football, and the least worst team this year lost their starting quarterback. But I mean, it would still be an impressive feat, and I don't think up to now Peterson has kind of gotten enough credit for it. Offensively, you got to go with the Jaguars. I know Zach Wilson taken right there after Lawrence, but he's still struggling. The Jaguars offense seems like it's starting to get going a bit. Lawrence has found a favorite target in Christian Kirk. They've done a good job of putting some guys around him. Travis Etienne is starting to flash a bit. And, I think they have something going there offensively, and the Jets again. It's just like last week before. Anytime you have a team that isn't set at quarterback, you can't take their offense. Defensively, I'm going to say the Jets. That defense has kept them in games all season long. It's going to be the reason they would make the playoffs if they do get there. Salah has done a great job coaching up that defense. They have talent all over it. And I know the Jaguars have a lot of high draft capital in their defensive line, but the Jets are all around a better defense. So for me, overall, the reason I'm picking the game the way I am is because it kind of feels like two teams going in opposite directions. You have the Jaguars that have won 3 of 4, and you look at it, those 3 wins have come across teams that will see the postseason. Their one loss is to a Lions team who could also very well see the postseason. The Jets kind of feel like they're a team treading water a bit at this point, and they're just kind of grasping for answers offensively. Zach Wilson continues to show flashes, like that 4th and 18 conversion that even gave them a chance at the field goal. Like that's the kind of playmaking ability and talent that got him picked so highly. It's stuff that if he can tap into that, the Jets could be a really dangerous team. The problem is there's zero consistency from him. And the thing is, I don't really see that changing during the last 3 weeks of the season. I think it's something where it's mechanics, it's film study, it's all that stuff that's going to take a full off season for Wilson to work on that is going to improve his game. I don't see him being able to improve it on the fly towards the end of the season. And I think the Jags are poised to potentially have a really good night. Taking Jacksonville 28-17.
All right. Craig, Jags versus Jets, who you got?
Coaching, I got to go with Peterson. Just the job that he's done with it. I didn't really see either one of these teams being the teams that they are as far as the record goes, but I really didn't see the Jaguars being the way they are. And the fact that I guess Lawrence is playing the way he is versus Wilson playing the way he is. He's been benched. He hasn't been playing well. He's kind of shown he's shown no growth from his rookie season versus Lawrence, who at least for the last like 6 games or so has shown like potential growth. So and the teams that they've beaten, like Corey said, Cowboys, the Titans, the Ravens, like these are playoff teams, and they also played the Chiefs in there. They played the Lions in there. They played the Raiders, who were decent. So they like the last like 6 or 7 games, they played some really tough competition. So just looking at that, and then on the other side, you got how the Jets have played. They lost 3 games in a row, 4 or 5. Like they just haven't looked good. So 2 teams, like Corey said, going in opposite directions. Offensively, I got to go with the Jaguars. I think the Jaguars, the way they're playing. I think maybe if Mike White was playing quarterback and Breece Hall was still on the team and he was healthy, it could be a whole different story. We might not even be talking about the Jets trying to make the playoffs. They might have 2 more wins or something like that. So, but the way they are right now, I got to go with the Jaguars. They just put up 40 on the Cowboys, 36 on the Titans. Like these are 2 defenses that, pretty good last year. The Titans have, it's just 2 different teams right now, and one team's offense is way better. On the defensive side, I got to go with the Jets. The Jets defense is legit. They have one of the top defenses in the NFL. I didn't think they were going to be a top defense. If the Jets can put up some points, that's the only thing. I'm not sure if they can, because their offense is not as good. But the Jaguars defense is very susceptible to getting points on passes and runs. So I think they can. If the Jets can do that, which I'm not sure if they can, then I think the Jets have a chance in this game. But I got to go with the Jag. I picked the Jaguars for the upset, so I'm still picking them. I think the Jets can make it close just because of their defense. I think the last week against the Lions were a high scoring team, put up a lot of points. They only allowed 20. The week before that, they played the Bills. They only allowed 20. So Vikings, they only allowed 27. So it's not like they're going out there and the defense is the reason why they're getting beat. It's the offense. The offense can't put up points. So I do think Jacksonville, it's a short week. They're going on the road now. They're coming off of a high, beating the Cowboys. I think they're going to go into New Jersey and beat the Jets. I got them winning another low scoring game or relatively low. I don't think the Jaguars are going to go in there and beat the brakes off of them or put up 40 like they did last week. But I got it 24-17 over the Jets.
Yeah, I agree. Both of you guys. I think this is going to be a really good game. I can't wait. Actually, so and who would have thought at the beginning of the year, the Jags versus the Jets would be who you got with playoff implications? We would not have thought that at all. Craziness, man. So, coaching, I gotta kind of go with Doug Peterson just because I agree with you. The way they've won, the way they're finishing. Um, I like Doug Peterson. I don't think Philly should have got rid of him. That's just me. He liked Jalen Hurts. I think. I think to be honest with you, if he was in Philly right now, they would still have the same record. That's just me. I think they would have been a better playoff team last year. That's just me. I like Doug Peterson. I think he's a good coach. So I got to give it over to him. And Robert Saleh's doing good. I think he's doing great with this team. He's one of those coaches. It seems like even if they whiff on Zach Wilson, they have a good enough team where they can bring in a Jimmy Garoppolo and be competitive. That's pretty rare because most times the quarterback is tied. But if this defense keeps playing and next year they grow, he's a good coach. Offense, I gotta go with Jags. Listen, man, Zach. I wasn't sold on Zach Wilson. I think that I didn't see enough of him. I just think he needs growth. So next year will determine if he can play in NFL. That'll be his third year? Yeah, next year is it. And I agree with you, Corey. I don't think he can make the adjustments on the fly. Whereas the opposite, it looks like Trevor Lawrence is who we thought he was going to be when he was drafted number one. All of us had the same consensus on Lawrence. He's a good quarterback. And I think that he has potential to be really good for a long time. And Doug Peterson might slide his way into a good job, man. He might be there for 15 years with Trevor Lawrence as quarterback. So, and then you got Zay Jones, Christian Kirk, Evan Ingram is having a career year. Travis Etienne, like their offense is clicking. Defense, I gotta go Jets. Jets defense has taken on the identity of their head coach, Robert Saleh. That's what you want. This is what he was brought in to do. The defense is tough. I'm kind of skeptical. I'm trying to, I know people like Star Lawrence. I don't know. This defense is tough, man. They're not going to be giving up a lot of freebies. So that's going to be a discussion. And I think the Jets are the top 5 defense in the NFL, maybe top 3. I think I'm looking on here. So overall, listen, man, what we're talking about is this is the time of year that when teams get hot and play well, they play their way into the playoffs, and then you don't want to see those teams in the playoffs because it could be a potential upset. Then on the opposite, you have teams that play the ways out of the playoffs. And I think that because of, like Craig, I agree. If Mike White starts, I don't know if the Jets win. I don't know. If Mike White is healthy and he starts, I don't know. I don't know if the Lions beat him. I don't know. And I think that the players know that. I think that Zach Wilson is on, like next year he's going to be on a short lease. This offseason, he needs to put everything that he can into becoming better. Because if he doesn't, and don't let Jimmy Garoppolo go there because then he's just going to sit. But Jimmy Garoppolo gets hurt, so he'll have a chance to play. But I think you're right. But I got the Jags winning. I think it's going to be a close game, 20-17. All right, Mo, Jags versus Jets. Who you got?
Coaching, I'm gonna go Doug Peterson, Super Bowl winner, has transformed a program, and took over an organization that not only had to learn how to win, but had to get over not only being a young team, but being a young team that was being mentored by an immature coach and by a coach that shouldn't even been there. So that's a lot to overcome in a short period of time. And I feel like Doug Peterson's really done a great job of doing it. Offense, I'm gonna take the Jags. I'm gonna take the Jags. Their offense is really I love ETN. I love how they're calling the plays to get ETN. They're highlighting his strengths. They're putting him on the edge, letting his size and his speed be an advantage. Jay Jones is coming along, and they're just humming, man. Their offense is humming. Ingram, I like Ingram, what he's doing. I think they're just making a lot of plays. Defensively, I'm gonna take the Jets. I still love their defense. Shout out to Sauce Gardner, shout out to Quentin Williams. They got some ballers on that defense. CJ Mosley, they have some ballers on that defense. This is gonna be a close game. I just think Jacksonville is just catching that lightning in the bottle that comes along once in a while. We catch that young team that catch stride and don't know no better. So I think they're going to win. I think it's going to be close. I'm going to say Jacksonville wins because of a late turnover by Zach Wilson. I think they're going to win 27-20.
All right, Craig. Seahawks versus Chiefs. Who you got?
I mean, a couple of weeks ago for the coach, I probably would have said, just because I know the Chiefs' expectations are, I mean, they are what they are, and the Chiefs are good anyway. So at 10-3 or 8-2, whatever, I mean, it is what it is with the Chiefs. But the Seahawks, the way they were playing in the beginning of the season, like I thought that Pete Carroll looked really good, but the last 5 weeks they lost 4 or 5. So I gotta go with Andy Reid, man, for the coach. On the offensive side, I got to go with the Chiefs. I know, once again, they don't have a top wide receiver or a well-known name wide receiver or anything like that. Juju Smith-Schuster's there. I think Hartman might be coming back this week. They still have Kelsey, who's having a really good year. And the running back situation looks better than when they had CEH back there. So, and then the other side, you got Walker, who should be – I think he came back last week, so he's back again.
Mm-hmm.
Noah Fant there, tight end. He had a pretty good week last week. And DK. And Tyler Lockett doesn't look like he's going to be there. So looks like it's going to be Marquise Goodwin.
Mm-hmm.
He's having a solid season a solid year when he's there and asked to make plays. So, but obviously the quarterback situation, I'm not taking Geno, even though he's having a really good year, like a comeback player of the year type year. I can't take Geno over top of Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes is if Geno's having a comeback player of the year type year, Patrick Mahomes is having an MVP type year. So
yeah,
even though I did put Geno when we did this a few weeks ago in my top 5 for MVP, this is before he lost to the Panthers when we did that. So it's kind of going downhill. Even before that, he was kind of going downhill. But I got to go with the Chiefs offense. Defense, I got to go with the Chiefs again. I think Seahawks cannot stop the run at all. At least the Chiefs defense is bad and everybody knows it, but the Chiefs at least their yards per game is better. Their red zone defense is better, and their third down defense is better than the Seahawks. So I got to go with the Chiefs in that situation. As far as this game goes, I don't even without Tyler Lockett, it definitely hinders the Seahawks offense and what they want to do. But getting back and making sure he's healthy is a big plus. The Chiefs, I don't know what's going on with the Chiefs and the Cowboys. I don't know if they just took the Texans for granted, thinking they were going to beat them by wherever the spread was, 16, 11, 13, whatever the spread was.
Risky.
And they I mean, this is the NFL. I mean, even the worst teams sometimes it's a week by week thing, man. You just think you're going to go out and beat this team and you're overlooking them. You think you're going to beat them by 30 points, and it doesn't happen that way. And another game where you think it's going to be close, like the Cowboys and the Vikings game, and it ends up being 40-3. So you just never know. But I do think that the Seahawks have a chance in this game, but just because the Chiefs defense is so bad, But I think in the end, I think the Chiefs pull this one out. They're at home. It's going to be cold. The Chiefs know that they need to keep pace with the Bills for home field advantage. Same thing with the Bengals. They don't want to fall back into a tie with them. So I think the Chiefs win this game. I got them winning 31-20.
All right. So, man, I kind of agree with you. I love what Andy Reid has been doing. Chiefs have finished top. But, Coach, I got to go Pete Carroll, man. I think Pete Carroll, the job that he's done. I mean, like Andy Reid we expect this out of Chiefs every year. We didn't expect Seattle to be in the playoff hunt with Geno Smith. I think that's a heck of a coaching job by Pete Carroll. We all thought he was done, but once again, I was wrong. I think, not to say even if they don't make the playoffs, they still have so much to build on in the future. So I got to give it to Pete Carroll. And offense, I gotta go with the Chiefs. I do like Geno Smith. I like the way he's playing. I love, Tyler Lockett's missing this game, which is it's going to be tough. They need him to beat the Chiefs because the Chiefs offense, Kelsey, and we got the best quarterback in football in Patrick Mahomes. He is, man. I mean, there's no people are he's getting to the point where he's playing so good that people are discrediting him. Like, he's going to end up being like Peyton Manning or Aaron Rodgers, where it's every year he can win the MVP. And he's probably, people are like, oh, he's not going to win that many. I think he's going to win probably like 4. By the time his career is over. I'm not saying 4 consecutive or anything like that. But everybody can see it. But it's just, sometimes we discredit greatness. I think he's great. And Jared McKinnon is another one. I just think the offense is better. Defense, I gotta go Seattle. I think Seattle's defense is playing well. For some reason, I agree with Craig. Kansas City has just been giving up a lot of points recently. The defense was playing solid for a stretch there, and then for some reason, their defense just started giving up a lot of points. And it kind of reverted back to the Kansas City defense. We're like, oh, whatever. But, like, besides, they gave up 27 to the Chargers. They gave up 10 to the Rams. It's the Rams, right? But they gave up 27 to the Bengals, 28 to the Broncos, 24 to the Texans. So, I got to go with the Seahawks defense on this point. And overall, man, I love it. I think this is going to be a shootout game. I think it's going to be awesome. It's going to be fun. I just don't think the Seahawks have enough firepower to beat the Chiefs. I don't think they do. I think Mahomes is on a mission. He wants that number 1 seed, and they're here to prove a point. I got Chiefs winning 35-21. I think it's gonna be that. All right, Mo.
Kansas City.
Who you got?
I'm gonna go coaching wise. I'm gonna go Andy Reid. I know it's easy. I ain't gonna say easy, but I can see both sides. I think I will go to, and I know teams have underachieved, but for the hype that they put on the AFC West, and for the hype that they put on Tyreek Hill being such a big loss, for this team to still have this record and to be still moving the ball like they have, I think you just got to give that credit to Andy Reid and his staff for how well they've done. But shout out to Pete Carroll. They've done a great job. Shout out to Geno Smith in his comeback. Definitely making shout out to him making Pro Bowl games. I mean, I say Pro Bowl games. Shout out to him. And the work he's put into his craft. Defense. I'm gonna go Seattle. I mean, I just think Seattle can't stop the run, but I think they've kind of shown a little more consistency defensively than Kansas City has sometimes. I just that Lockett is huge. That Lockett loss is huge. I think they'll make enough plays. DK is going to get his regardless. But I think it's not going to be enough. I think Kansas City is going to make enough plays defensively and get enough stops. So I think it's going to end up being I'm going to say 31-20 Kansas City.
All right, Corey.
For this one, coaching, I'm kind of with Craig. I think month and a half ago, if you're looking at just this season, it would have been tough to take Andy Reid just right out of hand because of the job that Pete Carroll was doing. But the last month or so, it's without question Andy Reid. Offensively, this is exactly why it's Andy Reid. You have a Chiefs offense that got rid of arguably their most dynamic playmaker in Tyreek Hill, putting a lot of pressure on the shoulders of Travis Kelce, who's not a kid anymore, and the dude hasn't lost a step. And Patrick Mahomes is making it work with, Juju is his number one, and I would say Juju is a solid possession type receiver. He's a good number two option. I don't think he's a number one guy. And their number two receiver is MVS, who has been inconsistent as hell his entire career. But Kansas City's making it work with Mahomes. So you can't ignore the fact that Tyler Lockett, I believe he's already been ruled out for this week.
I believe so, yeah.
So I believe he had surgery on that finger. So the Seattle offense has been able to put up points, but I'm going to take Patrick Mahomes and the way they're playing. Defensively, I'm going to go Kansas City as well. I know both defenses have struggled at spurts this year. I'm going to go with the defense that just has a few more playmakers, guys like Nick Bolton, Chris Jones. Overall, okay, even without Lockett, I think Seattle's offense has a chance to hang with Kansas City for a bit. The problem is they've lost 4 out of 5. And much like the Jets, they seem to be a team headed in the wrong direction at the critical point of the season. And then you throw in the fact that you've got a West Coast team in Seattle playing a 1:00 Eastern kickoff in the cold in Kansas City, and we'll see what that translates to on the field. I also think that Kansas City struggles last week against Houston could serve as a wake-up call for a team, reminding them that they got to get ready for the playoffs, and you can't take anybody lightly because, as Craig said, it's any given Sunday in the NFL. Somebody can show up and knock you off if you're not playing your best. Yeah. So, this is the type of game that, like, had Kansas City won easily last week, I could see them come in, and Seattle just come out the gate hot and be able to keep pace with the Chiefs and knock them off. But I think Reed will have them ready after they struggled against a bad Texans team. And I'm going to take Kansas City in a bit of a shootout, 34-28.
Yeah, and they're at home, too. Kansas City, that matters, man. All right. Giants versus the Vikings. Oh, man. So, this is going to be a really good game. Coach, I'm going to have to go Kevin O'Connell, man. Like, the team has a better record. I think it's 8 games this year they've won. They've come back. A lot of close games. I would give it to Dayball, but they kind of struggled, and the Vikings have a chance to be the number 2 seed. They just came back from the biggest biggest comeback ever. And they've won a lot of one possession games. Jets, Patriots, Bills, Commanders. So I kind of give that to them. That's coaching when you can have your players play good in situational football, not make mistakes, and they're 11-3. So I got to give Kevin O'Connell, it's his first year. So I got to give him credit where credit's due. The offense, I got to go to Vikings. Jefferson he said he wanted to be the best receiver in football. He is. And you can say what you want about Kirk Cousins, but I would like to have him right now. I don't think we would have lost to the Giants with him. But, he's not some superstar quarterback. He's limited, but, a lot of teams would like to have him because he's a decent quarterback in the NFL, man. If you have a defense around him and offensive weapons, you can go 11-3. So, and then you got Dalvin Cook. So, and then you got T.J. Hawkinson, him and Cousins have a good rapport already. So, they're just built on the offensive side of the ball. And the Giants, I mean, they just have Slayton. They got Barkley. That's it. And Daniel Jones, I think he's still a backup, but people think he's a starter. I don't. I've seen enough from him. But that's just me. If they re-sign him, they might find out next year who he is. So defense, I'll go with the Giants defense. I think Giants defense is better than the Vikings, especially after a dominating win versus the Commanders. Craig is right. That fumble could have sealed the game. So I think Thibodeau is playing phenomenal right now. Could be defensive rookie of the year. I don't know if he wins over Sauce Gardner. But I just think the defense is a lot better. Overall, I think this is going to be a close game. But my thing is with the Giants is I still do think they make the playoffs, but this is the point where you need offensive power when you're facing a team like the Vikings who's in the playoffs, because I can't see them getting into a shootout with the Vikings because they lack the offensive firepower. And I just don't see them beating the Giants. I do think it's going to be a close game. They always play close. So I'm going to go with 28-24 Minnesota Vikings. All right, Mo, Giants versus Vikings. Who you got?
So coaching wise, Kevin Connell. The Minnesota Vikings are 10-0, I believe, in one-score games this year. That was one of the reasons why Zimmer was fired. Mike Zimmer was fired last year because they couldn't win those games. This year they found ways to win those one-score games. And they're the, how can I put this? Like they're the low key. If you kind of look at it, they're the low key Cincinnati Bengals of last year, where like it wouldn't shock you, like it would shock you, but it would come out of nowhere. Like I could look at them and like they could catch fire and like they can catch people. If you sleep on this team, they can catch you this year because they get stops. Their offense is explosive. They have enough playmakers to get to the NFC Championship game. And it wouldn't shock me. So it just is. I think Kevin O'Connell has done a great job with this team, turning it around from what it was. We knew the talent was there. They just had to win one-score games. Defensively, I'm gonna take the Giants. I think just on that side of the ball, they're more consistent. On that side of the ball, not to say Minnesota doesn't have ball players on that side of the ball, they do, but I just think the Giants have been more consistent. The Giants, oh man, the Giants are going to be who the Giants are. They're going to run the ball. They're going to try to slow the game down. But I just feel like I think a wake-up call happened with Minnesota. I don't see them coming out flat like that again 2 games in a row. And I don't see the Giants being able to match them. So I think the Giants will play well. I think they know that playoffs is on the line, so they're going to play well. They're not going to come out and just lay down. But I think Minnesota's going to be too much for them. So I think it's going to be close to start off with, and then maybe a blowout towards the end. So I'm gonna go 34-20 Minnesota.
All right, Corey. Giants versus Vikings. Who you got?
For this one, I'm gonna say coaching. I'm gonna go push. Look, I know
I get it.
O'Connell's done a great job. Has them right there competing for the 1 seed, but at the same time, there's been a lot of luck involved. They've come out on the right end of every 1-score game so far this year, and they're going to fall back to the mean a little bit there. You got to hope it doesn't happen come playoff time, but it's success, but with some luck. Dable is likely making the playoffs now with a roster that people were expecting to be potentially competing for a top pick to replace Daniel Jones. So I can't dismiss the job he's done, even if I think he coached like a coward in overtime 3 weeks ago and cost his team a chance to beat Washington and definitely be in a playoff spot right now. And I'm just going to bring that up every chance I get because coaches should not coach scared. Offensively, obviously, you got to go to the Vikings. That offense is rolling. Justin Jefferson might just be the best wide receiver in the NFL right now. I think Adam Thielen is starting to fall off a little bit, but Jefferson is more than making up for it. And kudos to them for going out and getting TJ Hawkinson because he adds a dynamic receiving option for them at the tight end position that they've kind of been lacking since the prime Kyle Rudolph days. And I know Darisaw left the game against Indianapolis for a while, so as long as he can stay healthy, give me Minnesota's offense. Defensively, I'm taking the Giants. I think the defense showed off last week. I think their defensive front is legitimate. I know Williams has been hurt, dealing with injuries, but Lawrence is solid, and Kayvon Thibodeau he's a beast. I think he's going to be a problem for teams at this level. Overall, I think both teams are coming off interesting situations. You have the Vikings at home coming off as an emotional of a win as you can have against a non-conference opponent that you have zero rivalry with. That was an absolutely crazy comeback. The Giants are coming off a massive division win facing the same opponent 2 times in 3 weeks. It involved getting your ass kicked in the middle of those 2 matchups. So it'll be interesting to see how both teams respond to those situations because you have young coaches and we'll see how they handle it. I feel like it's a bit of a strength versus strength game with these 2 teams. You have a good defense going up against a really good offense. So the flip side will be the inverse is how much can the Giants offense have success against that Vikings defense? The defense has struggled for them at times this year. The Giants have Saquon and a bunch of guys kind of deal. I think with this game, if the Giants win it, playoffs guaranteed, done.
Yep.
Problem is, I know they played well last week. I just can't take them. I can't do it. So give me the Vikings in a fairly good game, 27-21.
All right, Craig. Giants versus Vikings. Who you got?
The coaching, this is tough because you got one team obviously trending upwards higher than the other one. The Giants, they got a big win last week that they needed, so that might help this case here. But I can't. I got to go with. I can't pick the ball just because the team is overachieving, but they got one win in the last 4 weeks, or excuse me, the one win in the last 5 weeks. So
Yep.
they haven't really done anything. I know they played some teams in there that are all playoff type of contending teams, but this is the point where you're starting to play these type of teams, and this is what you're going to need to do to beat some of these teams, get into the playoffs. On the other side, I mean, you got the Vikings who I know they had to come back against the Colts, and they should have been in that situation, especially at home. And they lost to the Lions the week before. But I think overall they're playing a lot. They're playing better than the Giants overall, especially in the last 5 weeks. So I got to go with Connell there. Offensively, I got to. It's no brainer. It's the Vikings. I still don't know who the Giants are throwing the ball to besides Darius Slayton. I don't know who else is on that wide receiver group. I don't even know who the tight end is. So it's pretty much like Corey said, it's Saquon and just a bunch of guys.
Yeah.
Quarterback, Daniel Jones. I didn't even think he was going to be this far with the team. I didn't have any expectations for him. So I don't know. I mean, he's overachieving, I guess, in terms of him. To me, in terms of him just still being on the field at this point, I thought he would have been gone before Thanksgiving, around that time somewhere. But he's still there, and the team is still alive, and they pretty much one win, probably about one win away from making the playoffs. But on the other side, man, it's just they have too many weapons on that Minnesota offense. So, and like of course, even though Thielen is regressing, I think Osborne has stepped up into his spot. Hawkinson being there now at the tight end spot, I think is a great addition for this team. And pretty much there's no more excuses for Kirk Cousins. I mean, he has, especially on offense, he has everything. Like, this is the time that I know he had a playoff win in the past and all that, but this is the time that this team needs to at least get to the NFC Championship game. I mean, this is just too much on offense for them not to. Defensive side, I got to go with the Giants. I think the Giants I think what Thibodeau has been doing, especially over the last couple of weeks, I mean, it looks like he could be the defensive rookie of the year. On paper, the Vikings have some talent there. I don't know what's going on with this. They're giving up the most total yards in the NFL. I mean, you have you have Kendricks, you have Hunter, you have Hicks, and you have Smith at the linebacker positions.
They be giving up a lot of points.
Confused. And then you have Peterson. I know Peterson's old or aging. I didn't say old. He's aging. You have Harrison Smith, who's also aging. But I mean, like, it's just too much talent on his defense to be giving up to be giving up almost 400 yards a game. And I can't rock with him. I got to go with the Giants. Overall, for this game, though, I'm picking the Vikings. I think the Vikings are going to make enough plays on offense. I don't think the Giants have enough on offense that they can keep up with the Vikings, or they should be able to keep up with the Vikings. I'm not going to sit here and say that the Giants defense. I mean, you could say they're like the Colts, like they have a really good defense.
Yeah,
don't have an offense, or they're struggling on offense, and they have a really good running back. They both have good running backs. They don't have quarterbacks. Like they have, I mean, wide receivers. The Colts have a better wide receiver there, but have a better group of wide receivers there. But like I can see the defense stepping up and possibly going up again early on the Vikings, but the Vikings are able to come back and win the game. But I don't think it's going to be 33-0.
nah.
10-0 or something like that, or 10-3 or something. But at the end, I got to go with the Vikings. Another close game as usual, 24.
Yeah, it's gonna be close.
It's gonna be another close one-score game.
That's a good comparison with the Colts. The Colts probably got better receivers though.
They do got better receivers.
But that's a good comparison because Colts defense is good. It's really good.
It's underrated because their offense is not as good. Their record is not as good, but their defense is good.
Their defense is good. Their defense is legit. All right, Mo, Bengals versus Patriots. Who you got?
Coaching wise, I'm gonna go with Bengals coach. Gotta go with it. Gotta go Zach Taylor. No disrespect to Bill Belichick, but we're going off right now. It'd be too easy to go off of what you've done lately, what you've done in the past, but we're not gonna do that. Zach Taylor's done a great job of building a culture there, a hunger there. It's not a fluke. They're going to be around for a long time. Defensively, I'm gonna go to Bengals. I mean, they're getting healthy. The D tackles coming back. Reader, Sam Hubbard. Hubbard is playing well. They got some ballers on the outside of corners. Their defense is playing better. They came off rough against Tampa, but then once they got it together, they really started to get it going. I'm always a believer of this, and I think a lot of people know this. I'm a believer of when you have embarrassing moments or when you come out bad that next game, I feel like you should come out as if your job depends on it. I think New England is going to come out as if people's jobs depend on it. They're not going to win, but I think they're going to play inspired football. They know what's on the line. They're embarrassed by how they lost last week. So I think they're going to come out playing hard, but it's too much offense and it's too much talent. It's a huge talent disparity. I'm going to say the Bengals going to win 31 to 21.
Damn. Okay. Corey, Bengals versus Patriots. Who you got?
First one, coaching. I know they had a massive blunder last week. I know the team's 500 right now, but I'm taking Bill Belichick. He's probably the greatest coach to do it. I'm not taking Zach Taylor over him, or I'm not frankly really taking anyone over him. Honestly, in the rest of it, Cincinnati. Like they have a better offense right now by a lot. They've got a better defense right now. Although New England's defense has been decent this year, Cincinnati's defense is playing really well. And overall, I don't know anybody in the right way that's going to take the Patriots over the Bengals right now. Joe Burrow's playing really well. He's got his weapons back. They're playing well. I don't know how close to expect this game. Like maybe the Patriots come out fired up after getting embarrassed the way they did last week. Maybe not. But give me Cincinnati 31-20.
Oh, goodness. Okay. Craig, Bengals versus Patriots. Who you got?
As far as the coach goes, obviously I would take Bill Belichick. But I'm just looking at it as this one season and how it's going this season, especially over the last 4 games or so. The Patriots have lost 3 or 4. So obviously, yeah, I'm taking Bill Belichick. But just what's going on this season, I got to go with Zach Taylor. I think the job he's done, especially after the start that they had. A lot of people said they had a hangover, and then they lost Chase, and then they lost Mixon. And I mean, the team just didn't look the same, but they've rallied around Joe Burrow and they've stuck behind him, and he's been getting the job done. Pretty much, and both sides of the ball have stepped up. So I got to go slightly Zach Taylor just because of the job he's done recently. Offensive side, I gotta go with the Bengals again. I mean, it's not even close. I don't know what is going on with New England's offense. On the defensive side, it's close because New England's defense is pretty good, but I got to go with the Bengals defense, the way they've been playing the last couple of weeks, especially I mean, it's not really saying much, but what they did against the Bucks last week.
Yeah.
I mean, you're playing the Bucks, you're on the road, you're down 17, I believe 17-0, and they came back and they just scored 34 straight points or something like that. So, you know, and they got 4 turnovers in the third quarter, which is ridiculous. So
Crazy.
Their defense is playing well. Can't take nothing away against from the Patriots, though. Their defense is legit, but I got to go with the Bengals. As far as this game, I got to go with I'm picking the Bengals. I think the Patriots are in a like do or die mode right now. Their backs against the wall. They need to come out and win this game. They're at home. They're gonna have that. I'm pretty sure they have already been answering questions about what happened last week and all that other stuff. So that might be a little bit of annoying distraction type of thing. But I think they're gonna get over it. Probably over it already, but something they have to deal with. But I think the Bengals know that they see the bigger picture. They see the number 1 seed. They see at least the number 2 seed coming up, and they got a tough game coming up next week against the Bills. So I don't think they want to overlook that team. We've seen what happens when teams overlook teams with the Cowboys. Yep. The Cowboys did it, and then the Chiefs.
Yep.
We don't want to see that again, or no, they don't want to see that again. So I think the Chiefs the Bengals are going to come out motivated. The offense is going to be ready to play. The defense is going to make plays. And the Patriots just don't have enough on offense outside of Stevenson to really do anything. So I got the Bengals winning this game 27-16.
Oh man, yeah, I agree with everybody. For the coach, listen, I don't know. I'm gonna be honest. I don't know if Zach Taylor is a good coach because he has Joe Burrow. I don't, think Joe Burrow's that guy. I do. Like he's not like Andy Reid where it's boom boom or Doug Peterson. Even Frank Wright. I just give Frank Wright Joe Burrow. Like I don't know. So I gotta go Belichick. I do. I gotta go Belichick. Even though that debacle last week, it wasn't the coach's decision. Hopefully he makes adjustments next year. But he's still one of the greatest coaches ever. So I gotta go Belichick. Offense, I'm going offense. I'm going to pay. No, I'm not going to Patriots. I'm going to Bengals, man. You got Joe Burrow, who's in the MVP race. I don't think he would. That's a different topic. I think Mahomes locks that up. But I think Joe Burrow is solidified that he's one of the best young quarterbacks. And I think they're starting to get comparisons. It's not Josh Allen in Mahomes. It's Burrow in Mahomes. Could be that Brady and Peyton rivalry. I don't know. But you got Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, Joe Mixon, Samaj P. Ryan. I mean, their offense is loaded. The offensive line is playing better, so I'm going offense. Bengals defense. The Patriots have a better defense, but they have a better defense on paper. The Patriots have top 10 defense, but for this game, I think Cincinnati defense is going to play well because the Patriots don't have offensive weapons, and I think the Bengals is going to take advantage of that. Whereas Belichick's going to take away Jamar Chase, but T. Higgins is going to be there, and Tyler Boyd's going to be there. So it's a tough task. So overall, I just think that the Patriots needed to win last week. I think they're looking forward to this. I think the Bengals see it. They're like, yo, we could get the number 1 seed if we win out. And if we don't, we can definitely get the number 2 seed. I think they're focused on the Patriots. The Bengals they're not, I don't think they're one of those teams let's not say it, we don't know. But if they lose to the Patriots, they might have been looking towards the Bills. I don't think they are one of those teams that do that. They don't seem like it. So I think at the end of the day, this is going to be a Bengals win. And I think the Bengals win 31-21. All right, Corey, Commanders versus 49ers.
This one, I'm torn, but coaching wise, I'm going to go Ron Rivera. Shanahan's done a good job. He's got this team continuing to win, even though they've lost 2 quarterbacks now. But we'll see. Still see what happens because plenty of times you get a situation where teams don't have tape on a guy. They have success the first few weeks, and then once they're able to actually scout NFL tape and know what that guy wants to do, what he's comfortable doing, then suddenly, they start to adjust, and it's very different. So TBD on that. But Rivera's got this Washington team on the verge of the playoffs, and I didn't really think that they were going to be that close. I thought their ceiling was probably 7 or 8 wins. I will say on the flip side of that, I probably thought that Carson Wentz was going to be playing more this season than what he was. So really kudos to Rivera for being willing to bench that guy and keep going. But he's done a heck of a job in Washington. I'm still not convinced that Washington makes it into the playoffs, but even being close is very impressive. Yeah. Offensively, obviously, got to go San Francisco. The Commanders have Jahan Dotson has been better than I thought he would be this year.
Told you.
And Um, yeah, it's Terry McLaurin. Terry McLaurin. He's a Pro Bowler again this year. He deserves it. But San Francisco offense is just humming. Like I know they're going to be without Debo, but there's just too much talent there. That offense is rolling. George Kittle's playing well. Ayuk and McCaffrey was a fantastic pickup for them this past or during the season. Defensively, I'm going to go San Francisco as well. Yeah, I know the Washington has a great front, but San Francisco has a pretty good front. They've got probably the best all around defensive player in this game with Nick Bosa. And their front, is nothing to slouch at either. So I gotta lean San Francisco for that, and I like some of the back end guys for the Niners as well. Overall, I think the only way for the Commanders to win this game is for them to harass Brock Purdy the entire game. Hit him early, get him uncomfortable, have him face some adversity early, and see how the rookie quarterback responds. If you can knock him off this game early, get him uncomfortable, I think they have a chance. But it's going to be tough. I mean, the Niners have a really good offensive line, and the Commanders fans are very familiar with Trent Williams.
Yeah.
I think the Commanders can keep this close, but I can't go against San Francisco right now. They're on a roll. Give me the 49ers 23-17.
All right, Craig, Commanders versus 49ers. Who you got?
For coach, I got to go Shanahan. I think Ron Rivera's done a great job this year, especially with the projections that I thought. I mean, I thought they might win 8 games. I thought they would be in the hunt just because the NFC I thought was going to be more down than what it was, or it's still down. But I thought they would be down. They had an easy schedule coming in terms of strength of schedule, but I thought they would be kind of in the mix. But I didn't really think they would probably be at this point 7-6-1 or vying for a legit playoff spot here this late in the season. But I just think that the San Francisco 49ers, the way they've had to go through now they're on the third quarterback. They've had injuries to their running backs. They traded away another running back. Debo Samuel's out. Obviously, they get CMC, who's obviously really, really good when he's healthy, and he's been healthy. So that's been really good for them. I just think that Shanahan, the job he's done, just with the quarterback situation alone, having to deal with that, and now he's on Brock Purdy, who started 2 games, and he's won them both. I just think that he's done a great job for this team, and they won 7 games in a row now. So on the offensive side, I'm still sticking with the 49ers. Christian McCaffrey, like I said, Ayuk, Kittle, like those guys are veteran guys. They're really good guys, and obviously quarterback situation is kind of even. Although obviously Heineke has more reps and he has more time at the quarterback position. He's won more games and all that. He's done a great job though. He's had some comeback wins. He's played well in the fourth quarter at times. This last week when they needed him, it just wasn't there for him. It's not all on him though, but it's the offense just struggled last week. So, and it's kind of struggled It's kind of struggled the last couple of weeks with the Falcons and then the Giants back-to-back games. So I got to go with the 49ers there. I think their offense is rolling. The defensive side, I'm still sticking with the 49ers. They had the best defense in football. They're given the least amount of points, least amount of yards. Although Washington's defense is really good, better than especially after last season where Washington's defense was the season before they were really good, and then last year they just dropped off, like trying to figure out what happened, and then this year they're back up there again. So it's definitely the strength of their team. And if they're going to win this game, it's going to be they need a defense to step up again. Excuse me. But I got the 49ers in this game. I think 49ers see at least the 2 seed, and the Vikings can slip up like they almost did last week, they're definitely in position to get that 2 seed. They have a very winnable schedule. They can go 13-4 the rest of and finish the season. So that'll be 10 wins in a row. Excuse me. So I got the 49ers winning this game. I guess my only concern is even though I did pick him in the fantasy thing, is Brock Purdy going out for the rest of the season. I'm not sure what's going to happen when they get to the playoffs, if Garoppolo is ready or whatever the case may be. But I don't think you can bench Purdy if he's playing well and the team is winning pretty much, or the team is not losing because of him.
Yeah,
He's not interceptions or making bad reads or just trying to be a superhero out there. I think they'll be fine. So I'm picking the 49ers to win this game 27-19.
Yeah, man. It's a very interesting game. Coaching, I gotta go. I love Ron Rivera. I just think last week kind of put a sour taste in my mouth about coaching. I gotta go Shanahan. He's down to his third quarterback, 7th-round pick, and they're winning. Even though teams don't have tape, that's still very difficult to do in the NFL. I think that Shanahan's just he's running for offensive coach of the year. We'll talk about the awards coming up soon, but I just think that Shanahan's done a better job at coach of the year. Not coach of the year, just coaching in general, man. He's done a phenomenal job. They've had a lot of injuries and they've kept up. At mid-season, nobody think they have a possibility to be the number 2 seed. People were like, "Oh, Seattle's going to win a division." Not anymore. Offense, watching offense is too limited. I'm not even going to get into it because it's not worth it. Heineke's a backup. That's just a conversation. Brock Purdy is doing what he needs to do and not turning the ball over. I agree with you, Craig. I don't see them bringing Garoppolo back, especially if Purdy is not putting them in positions to lose. They have CMC who's balling right now. Even though Deebo Samuel's out, they have Brandon Ayuk, and then they have George Kittle, one of the best tight ends in football. And then they block crazy. And Trent Williams is going to make a statement game against us because our owner's bad. Defense. The Commanders have the 4th best defense. I'm not going to lie. 4th best defense in the league. Our defense is legit. But I just think that it's going to be very physical. I think San Francisco defense is a lot better. They're the number 1 defense in the NFL. And I think they're going to unfortunately, it's just going to be a very tough game for us because we're so limited on the offense side of the ball. They're going to take advantage of it. And they're going to apply pressure. If Thibodeau was giving us problems, man, we got to deal with Joey Bosa, who's on his way as being the might be defense player of the year. I don't know. He's leading the NFL in sacks. So, and San Francisco always plays us close. I think this is going to be a low-scoring game. I think it's going to be 24-17 49ers. All right, Mo.
Oh man, coaching. I've gone back and forth. I've heard all y'all talk, and each one of y'all made valid points. So I've been back and forth on this one. The only reason I'm not gonna say the only reason, but the tipping point of me going Rivera has been the foolishness that's gone on in the outskirts of the owner. I think to deal with that, I can't name about 4 or 5 coaches who would still be able to win with this roster dealing with what he's dealt with. So I definitely want to give him, kudos for the job he's done for this. Your running back that you brought in as a 3rd-round draft pick that you wanted to feature, he gets shot right before the season. You had to make a hard decision to go to a different quarterback. You got the owner acting a fool and investigations going on, and you're still winning. That's a hard job. Offense, I'm going to take San Fran on it. Yes, across the board, there's more talent. When you talk about, Debo's not playing, but when you talk about Kittle, Ayuk, Chris McCaffrey, Trent Williams, the best tackle in football. It's talent galore, but sad to say, I'm going because it's more consistency. It's a better identity and more consistency on offense. Defensively, yeah, San Fran. I love our defense. I like our front seven, but if you're talking about top to bottom, I'm going to take San Fran. I think D'Amico Ryans is going to be up for a lot of these jobs. I hope he gets one of them. But I know he's definitely going to be a top 2 to 3 candidate for every job that's going to be open this offseason. This was going to be my upset before I heard about Tannehill. So I'm going to go ahead and stay with it. I'm going to say in a upset, Washington is going to win 23-20. I think in a game they have to win.
All right. That'll be a big, that'll kind of push us. That'll keep us in the spot, I think, where we're in. So, all right.
Yeah, Mr. Man.
Yeah, man, I ain't mad at that. Craig, Eagles versus Cowboys. Who you got?
All right. Well, this game looked a lot better Sunday before Jalen Hurts got hurt, but
yeah,
is what it is. I mean, both teams will now play their number 1 starter against a backup, so I guess it evens itself out. But coaching, I'm going with. I got to go with Sirianni, obviously, because he has 1 loss.
Mm-hmm.
The team just looks well when Jalen Hurts is in there. The team looks really good. So offensive side, Mike McCarthy, still has some questionable decisions going on this season, but I don't know, man. Offensive side, this was easier. It would have been easier if Jalen Hurts was going to play, but he didn't practice today, so I don't think he's going to play, even though the Eagles are still not ruling it out. But I'm still sticking with the Eagles, man. I know Dak. If Dak Prescott was playing better and wasn't turning the ball over and having these mental mistakes or whatever it is and not looking like the team should have kind of maybe stuck with Cooper Rush, I will probably lean towards the Cowboys, especially with Hurts being out. But even though Gardner Minshew is a backup and he hasn't played all season, like when Gardner Minshew, his record when he plays is really, is underrated. He's underrated to me as a quarterback because I think he's a solid quarterback when he plays. The only problem is just he hasn't played this year because they haven't needed him to play. So kind of want to see what he's. But I think when they do put him out there, I think he's going to hold his own. He has weapons around him. He has a good running game. Now he's obviously the running game is going to take a hit because there's no Jalen Hurts making plays with his legs. But that means he's just going to have to rely on Sanders a little bit more possibly, or at least try to get him out in space, maybe catch some passes or something like that, some short passes. But Dallas Goedert might be back this week. Heard he's off the IR, so that's a possibility for them.
Mm-hmm.
Dallas, obviously, they pretty much just have CeeDee Lamb. I mean, Gallup hasn't really done anything. Washington's he's out still.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I mean, Schultz he didn't really get anything last week, and like I said, Dak turns the ball over a lot, and they do have 2 good running backs, but. I mean, I got to stick with the Eagles. The defensive side, I got the Eagles. Cowboys, I don't know what's going on with their defense. I guess, like I said, if they're not getting turnovers, they're just going to give up points. I mean, if you just go away from whoever Diggs is covering,
the
team is
bad.
winnable. And if you just don't worry, kind of double team Micah Parsons or try to do as best you can against Parsons, the team is exploitable. Seems like they're easy to beat. So I think the Eagles, even like I said, even though they're going to have Gardner Minshew, I think their team is they have a really good chance of winning this game. Now, Dallas is in a situation where they can't win the division, or they're probably not going to win the division, and they're pretty much kind of stuck at the 5th seed. But so they really kind of have nothing to play for.
Yeah.
Versus the Eagles, who still kind of have something to play for, and as much as I want to pick Dallas because they're at home and there's no Hurts, I'm just not. I can't do it. I'm just going to wait for Dak Prescott to throw up on himself, which I think is going to happen. It might be late, but whatever it is going to happen. And I got to pick the Eagles here. I'm not really confident about it or comfortable with it, but to play on the field. I'm going Eagles 27-24.
Yeah, man, I I totally agree with you with the coach. I'm gonna go Nick Sirianni. Listen, he shocked me and continuously shocks me. I think he's a good head coach. First year head coach, and he said, "Listen, I'm not game planning." Gave his offensive duty play calls away. That is, to me, a huge leadership. And you know how I got so about Mike McCarthy. I've said it, enough said. So I got Nick Sirianni. You know, I think he's a better coach, and I think they got a good thing going on in Philly. Offense, yeah, the offense. Dallas offense should be better. And I'm not gonna lie, this Amari Cooper trade could bite them. This is why, you know, like, oh, I just think Amari Cooper with Amari Cooper, CD Lamb, uh, Schultz, Tony Pollard, and Zeke. You got a good team. Dax, I don't even think Dax cap hit is. I think they could have had Amari for this one season. Then whatever you trade him, but I think that this is the season that Amari could be affected because the Eagles offense is way better, man. Devontae Smith, AJ Brown, Jalen Hurts, who was playing at an MVP level. Unfortunately, don't know if that happens because he's probably not going to play. Then you got Miles Sanders. I mean, the Eagles' offense is phenomenal. I go Craig on the defense. I'm gonna go with Eagles. You know, they got Darius Slay. They're finally healthy on the front. They're tough and physical. Dallas should be. Dallas is so up and down. One moment they're top 5 defense, the next to the 30th. And Michael Parsons said this in a year when they played Chicago and they gave up all those rushing yards. He was like, if we don't button up, he said that with Chicago. And that was, I don't know, a couple weeks ago, 6-7 weeks ago. He said, if we don't button up, this is going to come back and bite us in the butt. And it did with the Jaguars. So, you know, I got to go with the Eagles defense. You got to go with consistency. I think this game is going to be good. The first time they played, they had Amari Cooper. I'm sorry. The first time they played, they had Cooper Rush, right? Eagles won. Here's the thing. Jalen Hurts is hurt. Dallas has been talking trash for 2 weeks. I want to pick them so bad. I want to, but I'm with you, Craig. Like, I might go to Eagles. I think the Eagles have not been talking, and I think they're preparing for Dallas. And even without Jalen Hurts, I think they're going to go out and make a statement win because the Eagles players have been talking trash. I got the Eagles beating the Cowboys 28-24. Yep. All right, Mo. Eagles versus Cowboys. Who you got?
Coaching, I'm gonna take Eagles coach. Coach Stefanski, I'm gonna take Eagles coach. The offense, I'm gonna take Eagles. Miles Sanders, AJ Brown, Devontae Smith. I think Goddard comes back this week. If I'm not mistaken, I think he's taking off IR. He's coming back this week. They're getting healthy. O-line is dominant. Defense, I'm gonna go Philly just because they've been more consistent so far, especially recently. These are the type games Dallas will. This is the reason why people hate Dallas fans, and this is the reason you hate Dallas right here. These type games, because these are the type games Dallas will win and look kind of decent. And everybody get their hopes up. They be like, "Oh, Dallas gonna be a threat. Dallas gonna do something." And all of a sudden, playoff time, here you go again. So I think Dallas is going to want to make a statement and now have people believe their back. Dallas at their best, so their back is against the wall. When they got pressure on them and everybody expects something from them, they don't do anything. But when their back's against the wall, they show up. So I'm going to go Dallas in this game 28-24.
All right. Corey.
Yeah, coaching wise, this game, I gotta go Nick Sirianni. The job he's done in his second year is impressive. And on top of that, I don't think I've made it any secret my feelings on Mike McCarthy. So
Me and you both.
give me Nick Sirianni. Offensively, it's tough. Philadelphia definitely has the better skill position talent. Brown and Devontae Smith are one of the best wide receiver duos in the NFL, and Sanders has been a solid running back for them this year. Tony Pollard. The Cowboys now have 2 Pro Bowl running backs between Zeke Elliott and Tony Pollard, which
Yep.
I know Pollard's had a solid season. I didn't think he had a Pro Bowl season, but it's the Cowboys, so who knows? But I've got to lean towards the team with their starting quarterback. I know Gardner Minshew has been solid at times when he's been asked to play, but there's also a reason that he's not in Jacksonville as their franchise quarterback, and has been riding the bench for the last few years. So Dak Prescott on loan, I will give Dallas the edge offensively. Defensively, I will say that Micah Parsons is the best defensive player on the field for either team. But on the whole, I'm going Philadelphia's defense. Their defensive front is really good. I said it when it happened that Hassan Reddick signing has turned out to be phenomenal for them. And Brandon Graham is bringing it, and I think Philly is just a lot better on the back end than Dallas is. I know Diggs gets a lot of attention because of all the interceptions last year, but he's susceptible to getting beat as well. So give me Philadelphia defensively. Overall, man, I wish Jalen Hurts was healthy for this game. I want to see Philly, knock off Dallas, just in this division talk and everything. I'm not there with you guys. I'm not brave enough to pull the trigger and take the Eagles without the starting quarterback. I may regret it. We'll see. But I'm going to lean Dallas with the 0 confidence, 17-15.
Oh, man. All right, last one of the night. This one edged on here. Because it's the playoff implications. Packers versus the Dolphins. Who you got? Last one. Coaching. I gotta go Mike McDaniel. I'm a big Mike McDaniel fan. I like the hire. I did my research. I heard a lot about him and the way that he operates, the way that he coaches, the way that he reacts to his players. And we saw the game adjustments that Miami made against Buffalo were huge. So I like Mike McDaniels. Nothing wrong with LaFleur, but I'm gonna be honest. He hired Joe Barry. I told you guys they're getting complaints now that Joe Barry's defense, Mo knows this, he was a defense coordinator in Washington. He had the same problem. His defensive schemes are too complex for players to pick up. Green Bay should have a top 5 defense. They have all the talent in the world. It's just that his schemes are too complex. So anyway, he needs to make that coaching change. But he had Aaron Rodgers, so we don't even know how good of a coach he is. Offense, I got to go with Miami. You got Tua, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle. Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle are in the top 10 receiving yards. Tyreek Hill is 2, Jalen Waddle is 7. And then they have Mostert and Wilson. And listen, Mostert is a good running back. He is, man. He fits the system. He's fast. He breaks tackles. He played excellent in Buffalo. Got to give the offensive side. I'm a big Aaron Rodgers fan. I think this year he kind of had a down year. Next year will be different. We'll talk about that when that time comes. I'll have opinions on that. But, if this was 6 weeks ago and Green Bay was playing like how they're playing now, it would be a different conversation, but they're not playing. We're not used to seeing Aaron Rodgers play like this. Defense, I would love to say the Packers, but I'm going to the Dolphins. I think the Dolphins have a better defense. The Packers are getting their run defense is horrible, man. It's horrible. And I kind of got to go with the Dolphins because what they're doing, the playmakers, and how they're playing on that side of the ball. This game is interesting because Aaron Rodgers still they're in the playoff hunt. He still believes they can make the playoffs. I don't. I think if this game was in Green Bay, you know what? If it was in Green Bay, I would still pick the Dolphins. I'm gonna be honest with you, but it's in Miami. I'm still gonna pick the Dolphins. I think Green Bay's defense has too many holes. It's like Swiss cheese, man. It's bad, and I think that Aaron Rodgers once again he's doing another interception. So you kind of he doesn't do that. That's not a character. And last week, Christian Watson he threw it out of bounds. Christian Watson ran the wrong route. They're still not on the page. So I think they got to work on that. But I got Miami Dolphins pulling it out, and I got them winning 35-20 in a big win. All right, Mo. Packers versus Dolphins. Who you got?
Hey man, I'm gonna take Miami across the board. Listen, Mike McDaniels. Listen, this go ahead. Let's go ahead and keep it real here. I'm gonna take Miami across the board here, baby. Yeah, they don't need to go there. But just on Mike McDaniels, right quick. His energy is just has turned that place around. I hate to say this. I think his energy and what he's done has exposed the lack of coaching and the culture that was there before he got there. Because just to see Tua's night and day adjustments has just shown that when somebody believes in you and that type of energy in the room, and when you know you're the guy, you have the full support of your coaching staff and your coach, it makes the difference. So I can see the difference in him. Miami's going to be a problem for whoever they play. I think they're going to make the playoffs, and they're going to be a problem for whoever they play. You got Tyreek Hill, you got Waddle, you got the tight end, you got like you say, you got Mostert and Wilson in the backfield. It's just gonna be a problem for people. I would love to see Chubb pick it up a little bit. Chubb on the edge. I would love to see him do a little bit more. But yeah, Green Bay doesn't have nothing coming here. They're because it's Rodgers and because they're fighting for playoffs, they might come out and fight a little bit. But James, I'm gonna take your same score. I'm thinking they're gonna win by double figures. I think it's gonna be 35-20, Miami.
All right, Corey. Packers versus Dolphins. Who you got?
So I'm with Mo on this. That it's Green Bay. I don't know if any of us are going to have any of these categories where we would take. It's Miami.
Yeah,
I don't think anyone's going to take Green Bay. So I'm going to touch on something that Mo just did because that I think is a really interesting point, and I wonder what will be taken from it around the league, and that's the coaching. You look, Tua, highly sought after guy coming out of college, had the big injury. Dolphins took the chance on him, was a bust after his first 2 years. And I don't put that on Tua, though. You look at, he had a defensive head coach that didn't want him in the first place, and just a revolving door. Offensive coordinator from his first rookie year fired, co-offensive coordinators his second year. Mm-hmm. Dolphins go out, get a really good offensive mind in Mike McDaniel, who was only a coordinator for 1 year, comes in and has resurrected Tua and has led him to a significant growth from year 2 to 3.
Crazy. Growth is crazy.
It makes me wonder what's going to happen for guys like D'Amico Ryan, a really young, really promising coach, players really like, but you look at Robert Saleh, his predecessor as defensive coordinator in San Francisco, and highly sought after candidate 2 years in a row, got the job with the Jets, got a young quarterback, and the quarterback is struggling. The offense is struggling. The defense in New York is fantastic, playing really well, but they're not going to make the playoffs because of their quarterback play and their inconsistencies on offense. Because the Jets also did a similar move to the Dolphins. They put weapons around their young quarterback, going out, drafting a wide receiver, signing a couple of receivers.
Yeah, they got
signing
weapons.
A tight end. Yeah, like they've done what they could. They had a running back go down, so they went out and traded for James Robinson, and then haven't really played him. And I don't understand that at all. But that's neither here nor there.
Weird.
But you look at teams like the Panthers, the Colts, that need young quarterbacks, need to draft somebody. Our team's going to look at what has happened the last few years and see a guy like Mike McDaniel, who's been able to save a young quarterback's career potentially in Miami and turn him into an asset and have them playing playoff football. And are they going to look at a great defensive coach, a guy well respected by the players, but doesn't have the offensive mind to help the young quarterback develop and keep a guy like D'Amico Ryans from potentially getting an opportunity that I think he deserves? I think it'll be interesting to see kind of what happens around the league and how defensive coaches are continue to be viewed, because the Dolphins pretty quick turnaround. Like, I know 2 years ago they should have been in the playoffs. They tanked against Buffalo that final game of the season that kicked them out. But the NFL is about winning, and coaches and GMs often don't get a lot of time to win. If you don't win quickly, you may get one crack at hiring a head coach. So are they going to put that trust in a defensive coach drafting a quarterback and hoping that they can bring in somebody to develop them? Or are they going to go looking out for an offensive mind? I think the implications of the levels of success for those two teams and kind of around the league will be interesting to see how the hiring period goes.
Yeah. Interesting. Very interesting. That is interesting. He kind of leaned to a Colin Cowherd. He's an offensive guy where he likes offensive minds, which I understand. I think it depends on the situation.
Yeah, like if you have a team like, say, Green Bay, a place with a veteran quarterback in place, that a defensive head coach can work.
Yep.
Or if you're like a John Harbaugh who had a good offensive coordinator when you brought in Lamar Jackson, it can work. But Kevin Bowen, who is in the Indianapolis media covering the Colts, his argument is always for an offensive coach because it keeps the offense consistent. If you keep losing your offensive coordinators, then your offense is going to be changing with the coaches that come in to replace them. But if you have an offensive-minded head coach, it's their system that's being implemented at all times.
It stays the same. Yeah. All right, Craig, last one, right?
Yeah. Okay. So, coaching-wise, I got to go with McDaniels. I think he's a he's a really good players coach.
Yeah.
He gets the guys rallied up and fired up and ready to play. It looks like the team will just run through a wall for him, especially Tua. Like he's what he's done with Tua this season compared to last season or the year before. Like the first season or second season when I think it was his first season when he had to just he was going in and out of the lineup. It seemed like almost every
that was his first season with Fitzpatrick.
So finally they figured it out, and then last year the team started out really bad, and then they won so many games in a row, like 7, and then this coming into this season, they got all that drama out of the way. They got the whole thing with the missing the draft pick now out of the way, so now they're good to go. And Tua started out really good, and unfortunately they hit a 3-game losing streak, but they played 3 really good playoff teams, so they're going to figure it out how to beat some of these really good teams, and they played them all on the road, so they're going to have to figure that out how to play these tough teams because they're going to most likely see somebody on the road, and so going to figure out how to win these playoff games or win these tough games. But I mean the team that Matt LaFleur has, I don't know what happened to the Packers this year. I mean,
crazy.
They lost 5 games in a row and they lost 7 of 8. Now the last 2 weeks they beaten the Rams and the Bears. I mean, I'm not going to say that the Packers are back. I think the Packers are done.
Yep.
They don't lose this week. I think they're going to lose probably to the Vikings or to the Lions at some point. So just go ahead and get it out the way now. And then if you lose this week, then cool. Then you can go ahead and start Jordan Love for the rest of the season, and you'll see what you got with him and see what you got with him. And
I'm trying to see.
A lot of teams are trying to see, so that way they don't have to trade for him and not have to deal with a draft pick or try to trade up in the draft and whatever the case may be. But they need to figure something out with that sooner than later, actually. But offensive side, man, it's the Dolphins. Aaron Rodgers, I mean, he hasn't. I didn't think. I mean, this is crazy to me because Aaron Rodgers, he hasn't thrown double-digit interceptions since 2010.
Crazy.
He's only done it 3 times in his career, which is, I mean, crazy to me. So the fact that he did it this year and there's still 3 games left, and he just doesn't look comfortable back there anymore. The receivers that he has, he's just not comfortable. He doesn't look comfortable with them. Running the ball. I thought they finally figured something out when they ran the ball against the Cowboys, and they ran it well. And then it's like, okay, now we're not going to keep doing that anymore. With that team, it's like they lost our identity or something like that, and they can't really do play action pass because you're not running the ball enough, or you're not running the ball well enough, and then the receivers, you can't trust them. Obviously, with the Dolphins, though, I mean, you got 2 really good wide receivers. I would assume Waddle made the Pro Bowl, right? I haven't looked at the rosters or anything like that, but I would assume he made the Pro Bowl.
Hold on.
I know Hill did without even looking.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, he did. Of course he did.
I gotta look at it. Damn, Craig, do you know after they beat the Cowboys, they ran the ball 12 times against Tennessee for 56 yards?
Get it, man. I'm confused.
This is crazy.
And
sorry, it's 19 rushing attempts for 56 yards.
They were down when they started running the ball against the Cowboys too in the second half, and they still stuck with it, and they won the game. I don't know, man. I don't know what's going on with that team. On the defensive side, I'm giving to the Dolphins again. The Packers, on paper, just the defense looks a lot better than what they've been able to do this season. And I know, like I said, the defense looks good the last couple of weeks, but they've played nobodies. We'll see what happens this week. If they can shut down Tua or shut down Hill or whatever the case may be, good luck. But I think I'll look at the defense a little bit differently going into the game against the Vikings. I just don't think that the Packers have enough firepower. I don't think they have enough. The receivers are just not good enough, and I don't think they can beat this team, especially in Miami. I just don't think so.
He didn't, Greg.
He didn't.
Yeah, I'm just It's just
it was
Hill. Diggs then, right? Diggs and
Diggs, Devontae, Chase, Hill, McLaurin, Lamb, Brown, and Jefferson.
Okay, so AFC, the usual suspect. Okay, I thought I was crack it though, but anyway, but
it's hard. It's deep.
Yeah.
Deep.
Especially with Devontae coming over there this year.
Yeah,
but yeah, I think the Dolphins win this game. I think this is a statement game for them because they've lost 3 in a row. They're back home now in that sun of Miami, and they see a Packers team that is started to get a little bit more confidence, 1-2 games in a row. But I think a lot of people are starting to talk about what type of Dolphins team this is. I think they're going to show up. Give me the Dolphins 34 to 20.